Well, many of you know the reason that I was not here last week is that Yvonne and I made our annual trek to the annual international meeting of the American Society of Agricultural and Biological Engineers. Been doing that for 50 plus years. 100 plus technical sessions, many in parallel with each other, more than 1,000 posters presented, numerous student competitions, including the Fountain Wars. All this occurred over a period of 3 days. You could be enthralled by papers with titles like Vision Transformer-Based Fusion of Hyperspectral Reflectance and Fluorescent Imaging for Citrus Leaf Disease Classification. Isn't that a... Or maybe you'd rather go to a session that had anaerobic digestion of variable heterogeneous organic waste, effects of operational changes in bioaugmentation on performance and microbiology dynamics. Okay? Maybe one more relatable to some of us or that. There was a paper on how agricultural tires contribute to the energy efficiency of the tractor. At least the title was understandable. Being realistic, you cannot expect to be conversant with all the topics presented. That is just not possible. But this range of topics and expertise presented is an opportunity. Often at these meetings, as a strategy to expand my horizons, I go to one of the technical sessions with papers that I have almost no clue what they're about. And what I try and do is I try and sit by somebody I know. Often been there long enough, I know a lot of people. When possible, I will ask the person essentially for a translation of the title of the paper, just on the side. And then sometimes that'll give me that aha moment, okay, so I can at least appreciate the work and maybe see some of the parallels to other pieces of work that I might understand better. But I recognize that there are subfields of study in the discipline that I am more comfortable with than others, and some I just do not relate to well at all. Okay, going back a couple thousand years, this problem of pre-knowledge and knowledge base is something that Jesus has a strategy to address. He does so in Matthew 13, our reading for today. We heard already with its 5 parables. Jesus' strategy addresses his varied audience of shepherds and fishermen and homemakers and more. Before I address his strategy, however, I want to acknowledge that what can terrify every preacher and teacher, that is a metaphor when it does not work. You build a wonderful, carefully constructed sermon based around an image, a metaphor, and you watch it sail cleanly right over the congregation and out the back door. And I know when that happens because then you take a look at the clock and see, well, how much more time has he got here? But as a presenter at that point, I'm powerless to do anything about it at that moment. You and I both know a metaphor is only as powerful as its audience's capacity to understand it. Jesus knows this, so what is his strategy in this case? He does not offer one parable just assume you will get the message and he can move on. In our reading today, in rapid-fire succession, he offers 5, each of the 5 hoping to land that metaphor for a different set of ears. I want you to note that within this set of parables, no matter which best grabs your attention, the point, the message, is the same. Each tells us about the kingdom of heaven. Each tells us the kingdom of heaven is valuable beyond measure. It is at work even when we cannot see, and it will cost you everything to participate in it fully. 5 metaphors, 1 message. Now I want to try something a little different this morning. I want you to find a partner or pair up with somebody, or do it in threes is fine too. And you take this parable reading, these 5 parables in Matthew, and quietly read through them. And then I want each of you to pick which one really lands for you. Which of the 5 really lands for you? All right? And then maybe we'll consolidate our knowledge after that. So find a buddy if you can. After you've picked your one, share with your partner or partners which one and why. Why did you pick that one? You're ready? Okay, that group, this problem of doing think, pair, shares that the timing can be a little fuzzy. You got yours picked, Jerry? Or? Okay. Ed and Deanne are still intensively reading there. So.
You can't hold it up for the slow students.
All right.
And you can't rush us perfectionists.
Jerry Ann likes to make sure she gets the right answer. Well, let's everybody's got one they've picked, one of the 5, right? Bill, you've got one of the 5 you picked. All right. By raise of hands, and I'll include those online now too, raise of hands, how many of you picked the mustard seed as your pick? 5, 6, 7. All right. Oh, so we got 7 people picked the mustard seed. How many picked the yeast? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 for yeast. How many of you picked a treasure in the field? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 there. How many of you picked the pearl? Uh-oh, okay. How many of you picked the fish? 1, 2. All right, we got 2 there. Well, that's kind of an interesting distribution, isn't it? We could have left out the pearl one, I guess, right? But we are kind of distributed across all the rest, aren't we? As a one that kind of hit home for you. All right, I'll leave this right here. Thank you for participating in that. I hope in this exercise that you can see Jesus there as the preacher, teacher, working the room. The mustard seed speaks to those who know the land, those who do seeding. The yeast speaks to those who know kitchen and baking. The hidden treasure and the pearl speak to those who understand acquisition and risk and marketplace and business. The dragnet of fish speaks to those whose livelihood depends on the sea. His is the logic of a teacher who refuses to leave any pupil behind. Again, let me point out more explicitly what the metaphors share that get us to this common message. That is, there's surface differences. All 5 parables share a common grammatical structure, however. First, there's the element of hiddenness. The mustard seed disappears in the ground. The yeast is concealed inside 3 measures of flour. The treasure is buried in the field. The hidden pearl must be found, and even the fish lurk unseen beneath the surface of the sea. Hiddenness. No matter which metaphor works for you, the kingdom of heaven, Jesus insists, is not immediately visible. It does not announce itself with fanfare. It operates beneath the surface of things and requires that those who desire it seek it out. Second, there is an element of disproportionate outcome. A miniature seed becomes a tree enough size to it to hold multiple birds' nests. A pinch of yeast transforms enough flour to feed 100 people, and a single discovery in the field is worth selling everything you own to purchase. The kingdom is not proportional. It does not play by the rules of reasonable expectations. It is expansive, extensive, and extravagant. It does not know about the 3 laws of thermodynamics. Whoops, slipping back into my engineering metaphors on you there, sorry. But disproportionate outcome is the second feature of all of those. Third, there's an element of totality in human response. The man who finds the treasure sells all that he has. The merchant who discovers the pearl does the same. These are not stories of wise, conservative, comfortable investments. These are stories about people who encounter something so extraordinary that they decide to recognize and reorganize their entire lives. Totally in. As John Carroll observes, the question these parables pose to every listener is the same. Are you all in? Across the common elements of hiddenness and disproportionate outcome and total response lies that common question to those of us who listen. Are you all in? Jesus, being the good teacher he is, checks for understanding, asks the audience, did you get it? Jesus concludes this teaching by providing a final image. Using yet another metaphor, he reflects on how the scribe trained for the kingdom of heaven is like a householder who brings out treasure, both old and new. This is a preacher's job description. We are not called to offer only ancient text translations of Greek and Hebrew, but a commentary with abstract applications. We are called to reach into some storehouse and make the old world land in new ways, and let the new context illuminate what the ancient community always knew. We can hold and honor both the new and the old. Yet, with another metaphor, just like a precious coin, if one side is defaced, the coin has no value. Both old and new, the 2 sides of the coin are needed. Last week, Presenters at my conference knew that not every presentation would land with even the subset of those who self-selected to be in a particular room. In a similar way, Jesus knows that not every metaphor will land for every listener. So he keeps on reaching, keeps translating, keeps offering the same truth on separate landing pads. He says, the kingdom of heaven is like. He says the kingdom of heaven is here. It's hidden, it is growing, and it's worth everything. He gives us a set of parables. He is saying if you could not grasp the first, read the second, and then the third. Read them all. Take them in. Let the ones that fit land. Find the metaphor, the language that sticks for you. And then go be a scribe, a disciple, who brings out the old and the new for others. Refuse to stop translating until the Word has done its work for you and for all the world to the ends of the world. Amen. Please join me